It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That, of course, Firewind, brand new stuff from the album Immortals. That one was called Back to the Throne. And back on the throne of the Classic Metal Show, as well as of Firewind, it is guitarist Gus G. Gus, how are you, man?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Excellent, dude. Well, Gus, got to tell you, man, first and foremost, as if you haven't heard this a million times, in the last month or so, the album just kicks ass, man. Great stuff.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's very cool. It's been a long time, man, for Firewind. I mean, not for you personally, but what's it been, 4 or 5 years since Few Against Many?
Yeah, almost 5 years now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, certainly, Gus, you have not been sitting home waiting for the chance to do Firewind. You've obviously been super busy with your solo records and working with Ozzy and whatnot. After being away from Firewind, for a good amount of time, was there any question in your mind that it was going to come back together, or was it always in the plan and you just had to wait for the right opportunity to get it back together?
I don't know. I mean, I had my ups and downs about it. A lot of thoughts. Obviously, we had to find a singer. That was like the first task.
Sure.
We were not sure who to go with. So at some point I was like, well, maybe, we had a good run and that's what it is. And then at some point I thought, well, wait a minute, we have a lot of fans that would like us to put out another album. And I mean, I was even tracking down like our social media platforms and streams and stuff. And I saw that the band, like the numbers never really declined. People kept listening to Firewind, the songs that we had already out all these years. And I was like, well, there's still interest out there. I believe some people still remember us, which is kind of odd, since everything is so fast food these days.
Right.
Anyways, but then at some point I met up with Henning again, and I thought, well, this is our guy, because he helped us out 10 years ago on the tours, and he was looking for a band still, and we were looking for a singer. And from there, I kind of started, putting the pieces together again.
Okay. Talk a little bit about Henning Bass coming into the band officially, I guess, because like you said, he's been there before. Anytime you change, a member, and specifically a singer, the band itself kind of morphs a little bit. So what did Henning bring to the band, and do you feel that he changed the band a little bit as you re-put the whole thing back together?
I think Henning has, like, as a voice, it's he's different from Apollo and the other guys, but at the same time, we never had like two like different voices, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like we had like a really low kind of voice and then we had like a very screamy kind of singer.
Sure.
Everybody almost had the same background and influences. That said, Henning, I think, is more of a power metal singer, if I may say so, than Apollo, who had a bit more of a hard rock background as well. So I don't know. I think he fits really well for what we're doing right now.
Sure. Now,
yeah, he brings a lot of power. Like he brings that energy that we were lacking.
Right. I hear you. Now, listening to Immortals, you certainly hear that too. It is a big, powerful record. In my ears, and again, I'm a fan more than I am any kind of knowledgeable person, but it does sound like maybe you incorporated some of the stuff that you did solo-wise and with Ozzy, that are slightly different from what you did from Firewind previously into this. There's a lot of different guitar sounds on this record in my ears than you've done in the past. Did something change, or
really?
Did you try?
Oh.
Well, like Back to the Throne as a prime example. That guitar riff that you're doing there, that's it's an Ozzy riff, kind of. I mean,
yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I originally wrote this with the intention to pitch it to Ozzy.
Okay.
But then I realized, I mean, he probably would never go for that. I mean, this is comes out straight out of No Rest for the Wicked album.
Yeah.
But then I thought, well, maybe he probably wouldn't want to go back to a song like that, because Ozzy, with every album he makes, he's very modern, up to date with what's happening. But it still sounds like him because his voice is just unmistakable. But then I realized, well, this is probably, it wouldn't work for Ozzy today. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I kept that. It was one of those riffs that I had on my folders, in my riff folders in my computer. Right. And then I thought maybe it could be one of my solo songs or something because I do more hard rock stuff. But then as we were making this album, I remembered that, well, even in Firewind, we've had these hard rock moments on some of our biggest albums, songs like Mercenary Man, or even on Allegiance, we had a song called Ready to Strike, and that was almost kind of like an Ozzy Whitesnake type of song. And I always thought that those resonated well with the fans, and they brought variety to the album. So I said, let's give it a shot. And if it works out, cool, we'll include it. And I just sent the riff to Dennis Ward, who co-wrote the album with me, and he came up with the lyrics to Back on the Throne. It fit the whole lyrical concept because it is a concept record after all. And so there you have it. We included it.
Sure. Now, you just mentioned that it's a concept record. That was something I wanted to ask you about. First time you've done that, I believe, with Firewind, is what let me rephrase this. Is it difficult to write to a concept versus in the past where you've written to a riff or to an idea, or, you see what I mean, where you have to kind of keep the concept together.
It's a demanding project. I mean, and that's the thing. We didn't know how to make a concept record before. It was intimidating for us. First of all, you need to have the right material. I think what sparked the whole concept idea was these 3 demos that I had left over from 2009 that I started writing with Dennis Ward, and it was for a project that had a similar theme, like a vibe. It was going to be about ancient Greek battles and warriors. Right. So I reached out to Dennis and I said, man, those songs sound very epic and all that, but they sound like Firewind still. And I said, maybe we should try and finish that up and then see where it takes us. And then we started talking about that concept idea again.
Okay.
And I said to him, listen, I'm not a lyric writer. I can make the music and stuff and the arrangements and send it to you, but I will need somebody to put pen to paper. And then, and usually I'm like my vision is always like the furthest I can go is I can probably send title tracks, song titles, or maybe a line here and there, but I don't really, it's not my strong point writing lyrics. Sure. But Dennis is good with that, so he completed the writing there, and I think he was the one that did most of the homework right there on the concept. Yeah.
Sure. Well, now, were all the songs written to the music, or did he come up with the songs and then you wrote music around it? No.
Music comes first always. Okay. Music comes first, and then we do the lyrics.
Sure. Well, it's an intense listen. I will say that. I mean, it's
thanks.
It's very, very intense, but not. It's not. I don't know. I think there's a misconception about you that you're like a guitar noodler, more or less. That you're because your name is known as a guitar virtuoso, so to speak. I think a lot of people without hearing you, put you into that Satriani, Eric Johnson mold, but that's just not you. You're much, in my eyes, you're much more of a band guitar player that is just great, if that makes any sense at all.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a band guy. I've been one of the band guys. I mean, it's only recently that I stepped outside of that role and went solo.
Right.
And that was also intimidating in the beginning because it was like, well, I had no band to consult with. It was like just me. If I liked it, it was good.
Right.
But at the same time, it was a different type of freedom too, I must say. But yeah, being always a band guy, you just try to do what's the best for the band. That's what you're looking out for.
Sure.
You're looking out for the best of the band, and that starts from the music and ends also with the business decisions.
Right, definitely. Now, Gus, certainly I'm sure you won't deny this, and nobody will deny this, that your being in the Ozzy band certainly raised your profile, around the world.
Absolutely, yes.
And now with that, Did you see any kind of upgrades, outside of Ozzy for you as a musician, as a professional? As far as maybe a little easier with promoters or easier to get the record deals for the solo records, or had a bigger book to call when you were looking for singers or whatnot?
For sure, man. It's like, the Ozzy gig has opened up so many doors for me. Like you said, it just, I was even surprised like how many people would be open and willing to work with me, and that they found out about me through Ozzy, and the respect and all that stuff. And then also, when it came even to talking to promoters or record labels and stuff. I mean, we had I had my own thing going on before that. It was more of an underground thing, of course.
Sure.
But we were doing well. But yeah, of course, it's a different status after you've played with a man, without a doubt.
Sure. Is it, looking back at it, is it frustrating? Because at some point you got to be like, look, I did 10 kick-ass records before this. Where the hell were you guys?
I can't say we had it bad before either.
Okay.
Honestly, it's like, we were doing well. Especially in Japan and Europe, we were the time where I joined Ozzy, things started to happen for us in Europe. We were on the rise. We were becoming one of the most promising power metal bands in Europe. And then of course everything was put on hold.
Right.
It was such a big life-changing moment for me, that I just you just don't turn that one down. And I did that, and that was an amazing thing, of course. And like I said, it gave us a whole new platform at another level. So everything is good, man.
Very cool, man. Well, Gus, Immortals is out now, and certainly that's gonna bring up the question that a lot of people have. What does that mean for Firewind now? I know you're sort of kind of in limbo with Ozzy, as far as what's next. Does that open the door for some touring in 2017? Or are you still stuck on the bench waiting to find out what's going to happen, or what?
No, I mean, our tour kicks off in 2 weeks, actually. We start in Glasgow. So we kick off our European tour in UK and then mainland Europe. And then in March, I do some solo shows in Asia, Japan and Korea. Then I'm going actually on an acoustic tour, solo, together with Steve Stevens from Billy Idol in Europe. That's happening in April. And then Firewind takes over again, and we start playing festivals in Europe again, as this is where we're mainly focusing this year. But we're also discussing about going to other territories. I just heard about that we might go to Russia, or discussing the possibility of a South America tour. We've never been to South America. So there might be some opportunities coming up for the band this year. Yeah.
Excellent. Very cool, man. Well, for now, people can listen to the new album. It is called Immortals. It's out now. Go buy it. Don't just buy it. Don't just listen to it on Spotify, but actually buy it. And I'll tell you what, Gus, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from the album and maybe tell us a story about it. So what would you like to wrap this one up with?
Well, I don't know. I mean, probably my favorite track on the record is "Live and Die by the Sword." It's an epic. It's probably the longest song of the record. It's 6 minutes long or something. And within the concept, it's the part where, because we were talking about the Battle of Thermopylae, or as you say in America, the Hot Gates, where the Greeks, 300 brave Spartans held off the Persians there. And then in the end, they get by a traitor. Actually, they get surrounded from a secret path around the Hot Gates, and they get slayed. And that song is talking about that moment where the Greek army is basically on its last stand, right before they're totally killed, annihilated. So it's a song that builds up gradually, and it's pretty epic. And I enjoyed it a lot, actually, and I hope your listeners will do the same.
Well, let's see if they do right now. This is Firewind right here. It's brand new stuff from Immortals on your Classic Metal Show.